and welcome to the start of another vlog. Now, the van's loaded up, and this is me on the way down to a place called Bains fishery. Now, I haven't fished it this year at all. I haven't even stepped foot on the place or had a look at it. It's not one of these big commercial waters stuff for the 30s, 40s, and 50s sort of thing. I think the biggest one in there is only just scraping £30. But yeah, I've decided to do a 24-hour session just down there. You know, this last week or so, we're just in September now. I think this is, well, we're all in September now. This is the 11th of September today. And we've had some blistering heat coming through. I think this is going to be the last day of it. This is a Monday, this is the last day of the heat coming through. So I'm going to get down there, get looking around, get stuck into it, and hopefully they're up for a munch. Still quite old school how they go about things down here. All fishermen, please pay here before fishing. So you go inside the little cabin. As you turn up to the front of the complex, or the entrance to get into the complex, you walk in this nice little hut, and then all you do is put your reg plate on the envelope, pay the price for every 24 hours, however long you're staying for, put your money inside the envelope, slip it inside here, go and fish. Bish, bash, bosh. This is the Sterling Lake. This is they call it the Specimen Lake on the complex. I did set up over there down to where the wind was blowing to, but apparently you don't fish them banks anymore. You only fish the east side and the west side. You don't fish the north or the south side, which is fair enough. It stops. You can imagine everyone just casting over each other and interfering with each other. At least this way, everyone fishes from this side, everyone fishes from that side, and fishing into each other instead of over each other. But I get it, needs to be done. But yeah, so anyway, I've moved around to here, and I'm just gonna flick this out and try and find some smoother spots. So again, it's coming to this peg, very popular peg, you can tell, stamped down to hell. Tallest tree over in the distance there. Let's give this a flick out towards it and see how smooth and clean that bottom is. Oh, it's a little bit shallower there. Yeah, clean as hell, straight away. That taller tree on the left over there, that's where the wind's blowing. And because I'm on this point, I think I'm going to go and find another spot in a minute as well, over there. So I have one rod sort of over that way, and then I'm going to have another rod sort of just over that way, because you're only allowed 2 rods there, and each one I'm probably going to put about half a kilo of buoy over the top of. Just a little pop up, just to see what happens. If you look at this, so sea fishing lead, pretty nice and clean. And then when I'm putting it out there, oh come on mate, get your line going right through the holes. Oh no, is it through the holes? No, it's not even the holes, it's on the bail arm. Right. Think, plop, boosh. Oh. Scoop. Nice and clean out there. And then when I flick to the right, bearing in mind there's only 2 people on here, so I can probably just get away with spreading my rods out a bit off this point. Obviously, if anyone does come and I'm in their way, I will move. And then that. Oh yeah, it's lovely and clean down there as well. So I've got one over to the taller tree there, one over to the taller tree to the right. You think about it, you think, like, look at it, it's not a very big pond, there's not much to it, feature-wise, and, you know, terrain-wise on the bottom. So, you're aiming for a tree, anyone turning up, they're going to be looking, aiming for the tallest tree, putting a bit of bait out, and the spot's going to be polished nicely. Yeah, but look at this lead, over on that other spot. Sound! Right, so that is wrapped, I think these 14 rod lengths, they're both at, so I'm going to keep this at 14 rod lengths, so I'm going to wrap my rods up at 13.5 wraps with some pop-ups on. Now I've just got half kilo over that spot, half kilo over that spot, and these are the rigs. Well, this is the rig that's going over the top of it. The barbless rule here, It's a little 40mm yellow pop-up. The same lead setup I'll use everywhere and forever. This is the bait I'm using on here. Because there is bream in this place, I've got 12mm, 15s, and I've got a couple of 20s in there as well. Just so they can't stock them up and eat them. We don't want to be catching them Hanson traps at the end of the day. And I'll show you what I've done with these baits 2 days before I come onto this session. But this is what's going to be going out there. About half a kilo on that first spot and half a kilo on that second spot. Pop-ups over the top of it. That's going to be my starting point to see where that takes me. The little additions I've added to my bait, I'm going to show you now how I go about prepping my bait and adding little additions to my bait, just to give it a different dimension, a bit more flavours in there. Chefing for carp, as we like to do. But these are just a mixture of boilers that have accumulated over the season, just fruity ones, nutty ones, fishy ones, and then all I do is dose it in this stuff for 2 days. Can't do it because he's recording. There we go, he's found a way. Soak it in this stuff for 2 days before I go. Just give it an extra dimension, bit of flavour. Yeah, mate. The boom toe itself only going up to just over 3/4 of the way. So all I do is, you go over there, mate, we turn that on. Fill it up with a little bit of water from the tap. Just so it gets to the top. Mix up. And we'll let that soak for 24 hours, and then I'll come back to it in 24 hours. If it's absorbed most of it and then boilers have expanded and they're above the surface level of the water, I'll put a bit more water on, and that is perfect. And here I've got a bunch of 12 millies, so there's like some berry fruity ones, and then that little Scopexes. And then these ones, all I'm doing is putting a load of this in. So I put 2 cartons of this in, and then I'll do the same again. If it's not quite reaching to where I want it to reach to, I just put a bit more water so it's just covering the top of them. And then that should be enough flavour, which is just a different dimension to your bait. A bit of pineapple, you can see it just popping up there. Go up here, get the tap. There we go, just fill it to it. That's just a cheaper way of flavouring up your baits. I've just had a wounded moment. I've just gone to my van to go and get my food out. I brought me burgers that are in there. I've brought me salad, tomato and cheese that's in there. Brought the bread buns, but I ain't brought anything to cook it on. Oh, this is a sore moment. Do I liver king it and just eat it raw, or is it going to be cheese, spinach and tomato brioche buns later? And that's all I've got. Look at this for a sad little sandwich. I've got tomato. Bulk up on the tomato because I haven't got no beef, so we've got to make up for lack of cow. A few of these bits, this spinach, and 2 slabs of cheese. One of these now, and then one of these in a bit. But why I'm going to enjoy this, since I've got one now, I'm going to end up having one probably just before I go to bed. The old numpty over here forgot his pants. I'm going to talk to you in a minute about how I look at my wrap sticks to analyse how I want my rigs laying off the edge of my bait. It was just, you know, when 15 years ago now, when the quarter boys come onto the scene and they're pumping all that knowledge, information, and how to do it all into your face. And you knew the basics, but you never, it's like anything in life, you know how to do it, but then you eventually always put your own little spin and outlook and understandings on it, so you can get it into your mind and, you know, understand the mechanics and the engineering behind it all. And I'm just going to show you a way how I look at my wrap up sticks to analyse where I want to put my hook baits off the pile of bait that I'm putting out, taking into consideration the undertow, the wind angle, and the depth and size of the lake. Now I'm just going to use my rod as a spom as my pointer while I'm doing this demonstration, or just talking you through how I look at spodding up and wrapping up and stuff, or when you spot in an area and you have to wrap up tightly, because 2-3 rods on the spot is it's a good thing to do these days. It's a very efficient, effective method because of how it is, and if they're eating, they're going to get slipped up with 3 rigs on a tight spot. But yeah, so when I used to be, so you got your distance sticks here, and always between your distance sticks I have it as 12 foot, and this is a 12 foot, the spom rod 12 it's called, so it's a 12 foot spom rod. And when I was younger, it used to do me head in because I used to cast out, find my spot with my lead, but then I always knew the swing back I had to take into consideration with the swing back. So I used to fish some quite weedy waters a couple of years back, and the swing back on them was quite a crucial thing you had to get your head around, especially with like mono and stuff, because you look at like different stretch levels in your mono. So at every 3.5 foot of water with a 4 ounce lead, so every second a 4 ounce lead is falling through the water, it's about 3.5 foot every second. So counting the seconds of when I found my spot, so say if it's three seconds it's taken to hit the deck, that's like 10.5, 11 foot around there. So from where my lead's landing to the surface, swinging back, dunk and hitting the deck, I'll count the seconds to how long it's taken, and I'll use that method of 3.5 foot for every second to work out how far I need to come back with the spom rod, so the spom is landing where that lead eventually lands as I've wrapped up. And once I've done that and I found the spot, I will always spot out my bait at that distance using the maths, if you want to call it, of understanding of how to correct your swing back. And then I'll always have my rods, so if it's anything over about 6-7 foot deep, I'll always have my rods at half a wrap off where my spom is, just so, because your spom will land. So let's use the marker, the stick as the marker. So boom, 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 all your baits landing in one spot. But then with your spom and your spod, you're always dragging back 4, 5, 6 foot worth of food as well. It never fully empties. It hits the water, 50% of it will escape, and then the other 50% will stay in, and that usually takes a few seconds to fall out. But most of us are impatient, and within 5 seconds we're retrieving it back. So you're spotting an area, let's say, off that pole up to about there sort of thing. So in my head, when I'm looking at it like that, so it's landing, douche, 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 I'm bringing all my bait back, I want it so my lines are landing, so it's the last bit of food on that area. Because you think about it, Big Donny comes down, sniffing around, looking for his meal and stuff, and he knows we're hunting him down 24/7, we never stop. You don't want him to come into the area and his nose and his fins and everything been touching all your lines. So in my preference, like I said, anything over sort of like 6-7 foot of water, I'll always be half a rod length off. And anything under 6-7 foot of water, I'll near enough be a rod length off, because the stretch in the mono. Or if I'm using braid, if I can use braid with all my rods, that's brilliant, because it is what it is, there's no give or stretch in it. But yeah, so that's my spot, boom, and I looked at it like that thinking, okay, so I'm baiting up all that bit there, I'm dragging all this bait back, so yeah, I want my rods at least half a wrap off or a wrap off, depending on the depth of the lake. So that's why I go about things like I do, because again, I want them fish coming into my spot round here, just coming in and just feeding happily, not going through all my lines, or having to put an extra 3, 4, 5 inches on your rig just to try and keep it away from your bowstring tight line down to the spot. So that's how I've sort of accumulated that process of going through the motions and the patterns of learning on lakes and stuff. And then for your undertow, I pretty much learnt this on a place called Trentview Fisheries, because I've never really fished a really deep pit before, and that is quite a deep place. I did a bit of time on there back in 2017, 2018 before I got very busy on that place. But so yeah, with the winds blowing off your back, the undertow will always be coming up towards you, and if the wind's blowing in your face, the undertow will always be going away from you. So take that in consideration for when you're using like light part bits like blended up boilie, blended up pellet, maggots, casters, worms, hemp, corn, you know, all these little light items that just take a long time to hit the bottom. You've got to take into consideration. And also when you're baiting, you know, is it really windy? Is it the stillest time of the day? You've got 24 hours in a day. Work out when the stillest time is on that pond so you can get your bait, so you know it's channeling straight down to where you want it to be and it's not spreading all over the place. You know, at the end of the day, the idea of a 3-rod on the spot method is basically, so you're pouring a bucket of bait in the lake and putting 3 rigs in it, one that side of it, one in the middle of it, and then one that side of it, you know. And that's why it's so essential that you're hitting that spod in the same spot every time. You know, you're hitting that spod in the same spot every time. You want to make it so you know, your middle rod's where the spod's landing, left rod just a little bit to the left of it, your right rod just a little bit to the right of it, and get that picture in your head of how that pile of bait's going to be on the floor. And if they are over your spot and you're catching loads and loads, you have to keep resetting that thing. You have to keep resetting that dinner plate, because they're going to be down there kicking it all up, and you know, eventually you can start going a little bit wider because they will be down there feeding loads. And I've had sessions before where I've gone through buckets of baits, or whether I've just gone through 3 or 4 spoms at a time and pinching them off. End of the day, it all depends on how Mr. Carp's behaving, on what he's behaving for us like, so we can attack him with the methods that get him at the end of the day. We got one on? I think we've got a fish on. Ah, we have. That was a weird old take. It must have been going sideways up the lake. Just seeing the rod tip just just knocking side to side. And I've got one burp, the old delky. But yes, here we are, guys. We have a fish on. First one. The rods have been about this ain't no bream. The rods have been out about 3.5 hours now. So it's just the left hand rod, this is, towards that taller tree. Remember, I've got half a kilo of bait over that spot, half a kilo of bait over that spot. I just flung this off the edge of it, as I was explaining to you guys earlier. Oh, come on, Swanee, don't be looking at that line like that. That's nothing for you, my friend. I want to get tangled up in you. Ooh, go on then. Ooh, pull it. Beep, 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 beep. Retrieve net. Ooh. I love it when you've got deep margins like this, where you can just play the fish in. I say deep margins, but for about rod length or 2, it drops off. You can just let the fish bash about and do what he wants. Oh, there he is. And he's a little mirror. First one of the session. This is how we like to start them off. Start off on confidence. Wow, go on, boy. Smashing his head off the ground. I suppose if I had a bit of metal stuck in my face, I'd be doing the same. If I didn't have hands. Yes. Is it submission time, my friend? Come here. Ooh. Sorry about that, guys. The GoPro died just as the last 30 seconds of the battle was going on. But we have ourselves a nice mirror in there. Look at the greys, slate greys looking on it, and the creamies underneath. Not bad. There's a little pop-up, just popped out his mouth. Yeah, let's get this guy sorted. And my GoPro charged. Yeah, boy. Just gonna zero it, guys. This is wet already as well. So let's check you out and see where you're at. Should be there and thereabouts. And that's that zeroed. Let's go and get the fish. Oh, we've got the first main man in the sling. Should we give him away and see how heavy he is? He's coming in at a hefty. I'm joking. Do this one arm. No, never mind. He's coming in at 21 3/4. It's not bad. A 20 to start off the session. So just on that, as I'm looking at the lake, the left-hand spot, getting them boilies as tight as I can, you know, not wavering at all, just hitting that spot on the same spot. Nice pile of boilies. Spinner rig just flicked off the side of it. Look at that, he's only got one eye. We've got ourselves a zombie fish. I see you, but you don't. But yeah, here he is. It's funny, isn't it? The eye that's looking at me, he's going divvy. I'm not that ugly, mate. But there he is, the first one. Just shy of £22. You're fighting more in this than you did in that. There we go. So yeah, first one, zombie fish. Just shy of £22. Say goodbye to the first carp of the session. One eye guy. Go on, mate. See you in a bit. Thank you very much. Yes. With the me forgetting the frying pan situation, I'm kind of annoyed at myself because I didn't sit back earlier and think, how can I go about this? But I've got my cooker, and with these little cookers you get these little trays that you can like grill things on. So I've just taken the grill out and put my burgers on that, and that can be my frying pan. I was going to just dangle a fork over the flame and then clean it up afterwards. Well, that's a little bit too messy. So that's going to do, and I'm going to have burgers tonight. Yes. It's turned out to be okay, to be fair. Get these over and have a look. Oh yeah, that's not bad. Got a few mushrooms in there. I'm a bit devastated as well again because I didn't sit back and think earlier. So I just ate the bone with my cheese in, and I've got one slab of cheese to put on that. So I'm going to have, weirdly enough, mushrooms in my burger. And one of them with a bit of spinach and tomato. And then the other one's going to have a bit of spinach, cheese and tomato in it. But at least we're eating tonight. Like, I was considering to have it raw, but there's only a few things in this world I like raw, and it's definitely not my meat. But the light levels is just dropping off now. You know, it's about 7:30, and it gets dark about 8, 8:30 this time of year now. I think we'll put probably, I'll leave that rod because that hasn't had anything on the right hand side, that hasn't been touched. So I might just chuck another 3 spoms, probably like 20mm boilers over the top of it, fresh pop up, ready for the morning or tonight, whichever way the carp want it to be. Hoping they want it to be that way. And then the other rod, because that has had a take, I'm going to put probably another ½ kilo over the top of that and a fresh pop up. Hopefully again ready for either something to come in for a feed tonight or something in the morning. Either way, as long as them bite alarms are going, we're happy, aren't we? But I'm going to enjoy my burgers and get all that stuff sorted that I just told you. I would watch the sunset, but this cloud's just come in, so no sunset tonight. I'll speak to you in the morning. Good morning. It's about 7:30 now. I've been up since 6 o'clock. Not up properly because it is raining. We got a nice little northerly wind trickling straight into our face. I just sort of woke up, mate, sleeping bag flicked off like we do, peering out, just having a look every now and then and drifting back off, having a look every now and then, drifting back off, seeing the odd bream show over the spots, and had the odd maybe indication of something swimming about close to him, maybe up the embankment just down here. But nothing has happened. Nothing. No carp. What I'm going to do, it's 7:30 now. I know these pop-ups that I've got on here, they stay, you know, within 24 hours, after 24 hours of being in the water, they start to just take on a bit of water and droop a bit. And they've been out. I redid them last night, so they should still be happy. Bearing in mind, there's no one else on this lake. It's just me on this lake at the moment. And the fish has just shown out there, right over the spot. I don't want to be causing any more disturbance, you know. It's the morning, it's been a night, it's the morning, there's no one else on here. Mr. Carp should be moving around there pretty happily because no one's bombarding him with noise and lines. We'll leave it till about 11, 12 o'clock. Either think about having a recast and probably going home maybe 2 or 3 hours after that, just to see if anything does happen into the afternoon. Because bearing in mind, I did have one yesterday about, well, the first one, after about 3 hours of being here, and that was like at what, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock sort of thing. So whether that's a pattern to go off at the time like when they're eating, I don't know, but might give it till then. But they're going to stay out till 11 o'clock in the morning, and then we'll switch over to fresh hook baits. But for now, we're just going to leave it quiet and peaceful. And I'm going to get in there, get me something to eat, and occupy my mind in another way. Hey, not like that. I was going to read a book. See, I told you I was coming in here for nothing more than just to read a little book. It has just started raining quite heavy now as well, and the northerly winds are just picked up a little bit more in the face. But it's the last couple of hours. Got my little GoPro ready in case I just take a bit of action footage if I get one. So I think we've got a take. What's he doing there? He's pulling up and down, up and down. See, he's just gone. Just the line's just tightening right up again. It's dropping back. Oh yeah, there's got to be something on there that's moving the lid. Yes! Come on, my boy. That was a real slow take, that was. Real slow take. Been sat here all morning in my little bivvy just watching out, praying just for it to go one last time. And it has. I think about 4:30 this morning I got done as well because I got woke up to a and like the line dropped back a little bit, but with the setup I'm using with the fluorocarbon, little Ronnie just always kicks back out in position again to snag that carp in the mouth. You get this guy slipped in the net, the rig popped off, another 4 or 5 spawns thrown over that area, the rig thrown back out again, and then we'll tend to the carp. Guessing it's a carp. Could be a massive bream, you never know. Nice, you little carp. Hey, mate. Let's get the net. Ah, he's only a babby one. More than welcome though, my friend. In these soggy times. Plop! And there he is. Little dude this morning. Didn't think anything was really going to happen this morning just because of how it is. We've got a quite cold northerly wind pumping into the face. The van's saying it's only 12 degrees. Alright. Then we'll flick that rod back out. 4 or 5 spawns over the top of it, around it. Hopefully we get another one come in. A bigger one. I know there is a 30 in there, or a couple of upper 20s. One of them would be nice. Yeah, happy days. I've just put another 4 spawns out over that spot towards the taller tree in the distance. But this rod here, this right hand rod, it's not done anything. It's not had a sniff, it's not had a liner, it's not had anything. Whereas this rod here has had 2 carp so far, and again I think I got it done this morning. So I just sort of flick this rod just to the right a little bit, And I'm going to take this one off the spot, wrap it up to the same distance as where that area is, and just put it a little bit left of the spots, because the boilies are landing all straight towards that tree. And I'll bring that in, move that one over, put that one on a pop-up and get it on the left hand side. Just sitting back in here now because the headlands haven't opened up, but taking that spot, rod off that spot, 2 rods are now out towards where that swan is on the main spot. It just makes sense. That's had 3 sort of indications since I've been there. That's had nothing, and I've only got 4, 5, 6 hours depending what the missus says left of the session, so may as well put double the opportunities, double the chance, double the odds in that position, and just see, you know, get another one. Da, 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 come on, copy. See these guys down here, just staying out the way, shelter behind this tree here, just so they're not in the way of the wind, getting sucked into all the little waves out there. Must be like tsunamis to them little guys. Yep, we've got a jolly drop back. And we got another carp on the go. Yeah, boy. Shot straight towards me, this guy. I just sat in my little bivvy in my den, watching it, and he just went blah 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 blah. As the old bobbin fell back, all the slack line caught up. What was it? Gone over that other line? It has gone over that other line. Oh, I've got 2 rods on the spot. Go back over that, okay? We'll go that way. Look like it's hovering just over the line. I'll go back over again. Ooh yeah, a little bit bigger than the last one. Oh! Oh! Oh dear. I nearly had another carp. It happens. Barbless hooks twisting and turning with the lead still in its face. There's a lot of elements that are in pursuit for that area happen. Reset, re-wrapped up, yellow pop-up back on. It's gonna flicked out. Plop. Just flicking through onto my phone from the sessions that I've had previously over the summer, and the last time I lost a fish was back in June, so since June, places that I've been fishing at have had just over 25 fish, so that's not bad. If you think about it, that's the first hook pull I've had in 25 bites. So respect to the Ronnie, definitely. But that is what it is, it happens. The rough with the smooth and the smooth with the rough. That's how life is. That's the van loaded up. The weather is throwing itself at me. I've had enough. Just sort of had like an hour or so where it dried out, and literally within 2 minutes it just switched completely. So I stripped everything down, threw it in there before it got too wet again. It's probably still about 50% wet, but you know, it is what it is. But I've had an enjoyable session. I hope you guys are like watching this, and you know what, I enjoy a 24-hour session every now and then, just and especially when it's a successful one, you know, it's nice. But again, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time I'm out. Fished it this year at all. I haven't even stepped things out there. All fishermen. The distance there. Let's give the that are in there. I brought them. It used to do me head in because I used to cast out a fish on.